I believe in the collective energy. I really do.
Believe that.
I believe that women over 50, and I mean, we have women in our community that are in their 70s and 80s, and these are the people. These are the people that are going to literally shift the collective frequency if they can find the confidence and the courage to speak their voices and what they're here to say.
Welcome back to Life from Within. I'm your host, Kelly Dwyer. Today's episode is a high voltage double feature. I'm joined by Barbara Brooks, a pro-age and experience advocate and the founder of Second Act Women, and Julie Ciardi, founder of the 50 Not Finished movement. Both of these women reached a breaking point exactly 8 years ago, one while sitting in the VP seat at IBM, and the other while realizing the corporate world was trying to hand her the Heisman because of her age. Today, we aren't just talking about getting by in midlife. We're talking about middlescence and the gold age of money and why your lived experience is actually the ultimate unfair advantage in a world obsessed with AI and youth. If you've ever felt like the world was telling you to slow down just as you were finally getting started, this conversation is your permission slip to turn the volume up. Enjoy. On today's episode, we have the honor of two guests, Barbara Brooks and Julie Ciardi. Barbara Brooks is a nationally recognized entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and the founder of Second Act Women. Her work centers on the philosophy that experience is power, specifically redefining how organizations unlock performance across a 5-generation workforce. Barbara helps professional women stop playing defense so they can claim the strategic advantage that only age and experience can bring. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
Julie Ciardi is the author of 50 Not Finished and the founder of the 50 Not Finished movement, a movement built on the belief that midlife is the gold age and a powerful ignition point for a woman's true legacy work. A former IBM vice president turned multi-7-figure women's entrepreneur, Julie rewrote the entire human design system from a woman's perspective to help high-capacity leaders find clarity in their midlife calling. She's a dedicated advocate for helping women reject one-size-fits-all business formulas and instead build a life and career that's a true extension of who they actually are. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you both. So I've brought Julie and Barbara together today because the way I see it, Barbara helps us women, midlife women, name and claim the business value of our experience. And Julie helps us stop forcing ourselves into one-size-fits-all formulas. And so that we can build a business and a life that's not based on fads or FOMO or anything like that. So I see the two of you together create this beautiful 360-degree view of dismantling the internal barriers and dismantling the external barriers, right? So I cannot wait for this conversation. All right, let's dive in. And Barbara, we'll start with you. So I would love to hear, in a nutshell, your origin story. What was the moment your mission became inevitable? Who was there? What was the scene?
Yeah, it's very simple. I couldn't get hired and I was only 51 and I'm an award-winning marketing director from the shopping center industry and no one was saying yes to me. And instead they were giving me the Heisman. And so I decided to do something about it. And that's create a company that would help other women find their way, also understand their, what I like to call their ROE, their return on experience when it came to not just inside of corporations and them trying themselves to land a job, but also start their own companies and do them in middlescence. Because I learned that life was just really, truly beginning at 51. Now 59.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have 8 years of material that we can pull from in the conversation.
Yes. 8 years of advocacy, 8 years of work, 23,000 person community of women and allies who all understand that this time in life is beautiful. It can be tough, but we bring so much value to the world, not only the economy, let's face it, but to so much more. My job, I feel like, is not just to go inside of corporations and speak to this and the power of intergenerational teams. The reason why I do that is to eradicate ageism and say, hire us all, but also make sure that our women know that, yes, imposterism, because you're not sick, so it's not a syndrome, will creep in and the internal biases that we have. But we have to know that we are so much more than our number,
Yeah.
than that chapter number.
Well said. Well said, Barbara. Julie, what was your moment where your mission became inevitable? Bring us
Well,
to that
I
scene.
have the chills, Barbara. I'm right alongside with you on everything you just said. And actually, it's kind of cool. Mine is exactly 8 years too.
Goodness.
I know. Isn't that kind of cool? So I was 42 and I was on a plane flying. I was a vice president at IBM. I had just left my 3 kids at home with their dad. I needed to fly again on another business trip. I didn't even love my job. I was doing very well financially. I was the primary breadwinner in my family. Dreaded my job. I dreaded travel. I dreaded, every Sunday night. I did not actually love what I was doing. I knew that I was meant for something totally different. And I was on a plane and I was reading, actually, I had 2 books completely changed my life. One of the books was The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware, where it was like, I didn't want to have the regret of not doing my own thing. I always knew I was made to do my own business. I knew that for 25 years. And I stayed at IBM because I was scared. I was afraid. I had the fear that it wouldn't be secure. Meanwhile, layoffs were happening all around me. So even being in corporate wasn't safe, right? But I had this fear of going out on my own and with a family of 5. And I was on this plane and I just was reading another book called Hello Extraordinary. And this woman had literally left her career, 2 young children, started a business, and was now telling the story of success. And I just had this moment on that plane. It was from New York to Dallas. And I was like, why not me? It just hit me. I have the chills as I say it because I can literally picture myself in that seat. And it was, why not me? Why can't I do this? And I'm telling you, ladies, I came home from that trip and I sat down with my husband and I said, I have to leave. I have to do my own thing. I do all the numbers. I sat down with a spreadsheet and looked at all our finances. And I said, so in order to do this, we're going to have to sell the house. And we did. We sold the house. We took a break from the ridiculous climbing up the ladder of to what, right? To the rat race. And we took a step back. I sold the house. I left IBM and it took a bit longer than I wanted it to make the kind of money that I needed to make, but I did it. And it was just that moment of going, why not me? If she can do it, why can't I do it? That was it. It was a singular moment. It kind of all came together, even though it was like 20 something years in the making.
Right, right. Now, so 50 not finished. Barbara, you have a podcast, The House of Middlescence.
Yeah.
Julie, you'd call it the gold age. And so here we are, right?
I don't use the word gold.
No, Julie calls it the gold age.
Oh, sorry, because
That's
there's a
right.
perception. The Golden Bachelor, the Golden Bachelorette, the golden years, there's this perception that we are 80, that we are 90. And instead, I try to stay away from certain words when describing this time. I don't even rarely use midlife. I do from time to time, of course, because it is midlife. But I really love, and I had heard the term from, her name is Barbara out of San Francisco. She gave a speech at one of our events and she used that term middlescence. And I said, oh, that's it. That is it. That's the term I'm going to be using to describe this time in life. So I always say middlescence and beyond.
So what about middlescence? What does that give you beyond the word midlife?
I think there's something more freeing about the word. It's when we were in our pubescent stage and all the change was happening to our body and all the things that were happening in our minds and mindset during that time of being a teenager. It's the same. The only difference is it's age, but we are going through so much change in middlescence, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, all the things, confidence, no confidence, people telling us we can't do things because we're sitting at a certain age, because we're too old to be, to do, to want. And there's just so much change that's how I feel that this is my time in middlescence, that I've got all this change that we're all working with and dealing with and caregiving. I could keep going on.
Yeah, right.
But to each their own, because I do have friends and others, and then Julie that, are using that word as probably a power word.
I'm using it about money.
Ooh, tell us more.
I'm saying money.
I like
So instead of old age, we're putting a gold G in the front of the word old.
I love that.
Because at least my whole life this was the narrative. I get on a soapbox about this because I get pissed about it, to be honest. This is why I stayed at IBM for so long. You have to work in your gold years are 20 to 55. That's when you're going to make the most money, and you better save it, and you better put it in a 401k and all the things, because then you're going to need to retire, and then you're going to have to hope that that money makes it all the way through till you die. I'm sorry, but I am not on board with that narrative at all. And actually, the truth is that women over the age of 45 are some of the most successful founders out there. Enough data out there to show us that the most successful female founders are over the age of 45, that actually there's a ton of studies out there that show that women that actually have their own businesses make more money than those that are employed all the way through to the rest of their life. And so to me, it's about, let's change the narrative that actually you can make more money, more impact than you did in the first 50, in the second 50. I am so hardcore on that because that word retirement is not even in my vocabulary. I want to do the work I love until the day I'm no longer breathing. This is the age to actually be paid for this incredible wisdom and knowledge and value that we're bringing to the table. People need us now more than ever, right? So that is where that term comes from. But I'm with you on like golden, like the golden girl. No. Gold, like as in money.
I love that.
Okay, so now both of you have communities of women and professionals that follow you and watch what you're doing. And both of you have a marketing background. I'm curious, this topic of visibility. So here we are, we're in this Middlescence. We're in this change, high change time of our lives. What have each of you found about the need for visibility and how women in this phase do it differently, or what you would recommend?
This is a huge topic for my women. And I get fiery if you can't tell. Because here's the thing. I mostly am helping women that are starting or growing businesses, right? So visibility for the last 12, 15 years has meant, oh, well, you need to become an Instagram influencer and YouTube famous. My women have come from boardrooms, have come from courtrooms, operating rooms. The last thing that they want to do is learn how to dance on a stupid reel for 15 seconds to go viral and get visibility. No, thank you. So what I have found is that the biggest challenge is that they want the dream. They want to create this business and get their legacy work out into the world, yet they're basically having to be demeaned and perform on these platforms that were not built for thought leaders. They were not built for thought leaders. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm huge on Substack, because I believe that is the platform for visibility for thought leaders, for women that have been in all of those high performance areas that can actually be seen and become visible for their thought leadership, not for what they're wearing, if they're funny enough, did they come up with a perfectly crafted 15-second reel? And so to me, there's this big need to help women. It's a big thing I do in my community, to help them find alternative ways. So whether it's places like Substack, speaking on podcasts, speaking, in other people's groups, but this myth that it has to be done in this way on social media, no, like we have to let that go. And it's something that really holds a lot of the women that I see back.
Barbara, what's your perspective on that? What's your response?
Agree with that. I'd like to add that I feel as if with at least the folks that I am working with, whether it's the business owner or the woman who is going back or trying to get back into corporate America, when it comes to visibility, it's going back to owning first and foremost your value. Because the reason why you were hired at whatever corporation you were hired at was because of the assets you brought. And a lot of times we forget the assets that we bring. We forget the value, the impact statement, which when you create, you remind yourself of the return on experience that you bring to your clients, if you are a business owner, to the corporation once you do get that job. I feel like the women sometimes forget that value that they bring. Now, once you own that value, you have to change your mindset and remind yourself that, okay, I am pretty darn powerful. I have pattern recognition, critical thinking, judgment. I have solved problems and I've gotten in trouble on the job for doing something I shouldn't have done, but I've learned from it. So you have all those things that if you're talking about visibility, after you own all that, now it's time to talk to in speaking engagements, networking, LinkedIn. Number one, in my opinion. I love Substack. I'm on Substack as well. I'm not that big into it yet, but I do believe, like Julie said, it's the next best thing. It is by far the next way that, as she's saying, you can have that visibility with the right audience. But I think LinkedIn is very important to start to rebrand if you are rebranding yourself, because a lot of times we are rebranding. I've had 3 brands. I've been a mall marketing director for Simon Property Group twice in my career. In between that, I was working for an NBC affiliate, and now I'm a pro age speaker. So I have had 3 brands. So it's when it comes to branding yourself and that visibility is you have to recognize your row, that you are a brand. There's no more privacy, and you've got to speak to it in the places that you need to be speaking to it so that you can get that recognition. So you can be that thought starter or that thought leader. So you can get those clients that you deserve. You can get that job that you deserve. So it's multifaceted.
Yeah. You're both bullish on Substack. And Barbara, you used the term the right audience. Like, how is Substack the right audience for people like me
I think
who
it's
don't know?
the right audience depending on your target audience. So for me, it's not quite the audience yet. For me, I'm all in on LinkedIn. I am posting video. I'm doing all the things because where I want to be hired, the people I want to be hired by are on LinkedIn. They are ERG, they are social impact, they are social responsibility. They are people that within corporations, they are leaders that wants this voice to come speak to their community or inside of their corporation. So for me, LinkedIn is where you will find me.
Julie, why are you so bullish on Substack?
So I mean, exactly what Barbara says. You have to know what your goal is. So if your goal is to get hired, you're going to go on LinkedIn. If your goal is to be seen as a thought leader and you are a transformational entrepreneur, or you want to be a writer or a speaker and you want to build an audience, Substack's going to be the place to be. Now, I've been in business for 8 years. I have never seen a platform like Substack. You can't even compare it to any other platform. For us, in my company, it is the front end of our entire company is Substack. And so we are running our entire marketing hub from lead capture to lead nurture to our trust building paid audience all on Substack. And it's been a game changer. But what we're finding with our clients, as I just previously said, they don't want to dance on Instagram. They're not looking to get hired. So they're trying to play the entrepreneur game on LinkedIn, which is all AI. All those entrepreneurs right now on LinkedIn, they have a game and they all comment in the comments on each other's posts, and they're AI written or they are totally motivated, self-motivated comments so that they can be seen in the comment section. To me, as a transformational entrepreneur, I don't think LinkedIn's a great place. If you want to get hired, it's everything, right? I mean, you have to have an incredible presence on LinkedIn to be hired, to be seen. But on Substack, I think that if your goal is to really be a transformational entrepreneur, that there is nothing like it. It's the only platform right now where there's still organic lead generation that does not exist on any other platform right now. And with so many of our women not wanting to have to perform on YouTube or Instagram, they can come and be long form thought leaders. They can write. It's also multimedia. It is video. Yes. You can go live. I have my podcast is hosted on Substack now. And so to me, I mean, mark my words, I really do believe this is going to be the absolute wave of the future for entrepreneurs and thought leaders.
I absolutely agree with her on that. Absolutely. It's pretty fascinating what you can do. Again, I'm not as active. I repurpose my content to it because I recognize that I needed a placeholder to get my name. If ever there's anything that's breaking, I'm making sure it's at Barbara Brooks. But also, I agree. There's nothing like it that I can see. And I'm on it reading a lot of things.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about ambition and how your personal experience of your own ambition has shifted and changed in this middle part of our lives. Because I know my ambition changed. It was like when I was younger, it was really present. And then it got quiet. quiet. And then it's come back. It's back. And that's exciting and it feels different because now it's back, but it's grounded in all of this life experience. What's your relationship to ambition?
I feel like exactly how you just described what happened to you is what I've gone through. You go through this time where my 20s and 30s, I was in an exciting career, living across the country in different cities, enjoying, all the things that career and friends and family had to offer. And then there was this lull. When I was trying to go back into corporate America in 2018, I got this renewed sense of excitement. Once I figured out my next company, I'd left corporate, started this marketing PR agency, and then wanted to go back. And that's when I discovered it. I wasn't hireable, even though I'm highly hireable. And so I found this renewed sense and it has not left me. Now, I've had a few, and I'm sure Julie can agree that the burnout does happen because when you're an entrepreneur, you're on 24/7 because you truly love what you do. I'm so passionate about changing the narrative on age and aging and who we are and how we go about our lives and our careers and our businesses in this time in life when others want to say that we should be done, that we should be retiring or thinking of retiring, as Julie said. So I'm so passionate. And the ambition is there to help change the narrative about this time in life and what it looks like because I hear the stories every week from someone. I hear a story and it pushes me further to say, keep going. And it's mostly 90% of it is driven by the stories that I hear and by the women that are inside of my community.
So you have a constant fuel for your ambition.
Constant.
It sounds like.
I was just going to share, my own experience with that. A little different, maybe from you guys. I maybe to a fault had ambition and ambition in my teens into my 20s and it was always to be the best. I wanted to be captain of this and I want the best in that and the top of the class. Like it was always this drive, but but why? Right? It was like wrong reasons. I thought that's what would make me good enough. I thought I had to be the best and I had to get the best grades. And if I'm going to go work at IBM, well, then I got to become a vice president. I can't stop until I'm at the top, right? And it was for the wrong reasons. It was for self-worth and being loved and all the crazy things we go through growing up and getting older. And when I started my company 8 years ago, I'm not going to lie, the first 2 years, the ambition was I need to feed my family of 5. I need to provide, and being a mom and leaving a very high paying career. We had just gone on this huge, very expensive vacation. And now I'm taking all that away from you guys so that mommy can go and explore her dream. I had a lot of guilt. And so the first couple of years, the ambition was all about, I've got to make enough money so that this is all justified, that I've made this huge shift and upended my family so that I could pursue my dream. And then once the business was really taking off, similar to what Barbara was just saying, now it's different. Now this isn't about Julie building a business anymore and having ambition around that. This is about leading a movement. And we have almost 800 clients in 30 countries right now in our community. Every morning I wake up, and I go into our community in the morning. I actually do a private podcast for our clients every day, Monday through Friday. I do a daily frequency. I want them to hear from me. And so every morning I get up really early and I tune into the community first before I do that podcast, before I record. And just like Barbara said, it's what people are posting. See, because when I'm sleeping, people across the world are posting in our community. And so I'm just floored. I'm seeing these women who feel that whole 50 not finished. They start to stand up straighter. It's I'm not finished. And here's what I'm doing. And I just landed my first podcast, or I just got my first client, and they're sharing, or I just finally figured out what I do want to do. It's kind of like with Middlescence. They're figuring out what they want to do as they grow up in this second half of life. And so that fuels me to a whole other level now. And the ambition feels so different than ever in my life because it's actually not even about me at all. We've created this living, breathing thing that I feel a very strong responsibility to continue, just as Barbara was saying. And so that's the fuel now. The fuel is we've got this fire started. Now we want to keep it spreading and keep it going. And it's a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah.
What haven't I asked that you want me to ask right now?
We've been talking and it sounds amazing and everything's peachy and all things, but I think we should also be honest that Some of this is hard. One of my best friends, we've been friends since we were 17 years old. She's also turning 51, and we voice message each other all the time. She's across in California. I'm in New York. She's an actress and I'm doing what I'm doing. And guess what? Every day we wake up, there is a different feeling in our body that's off. Okay. Some days it's in my head and I'm on HRT. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. Okay. All the things. It doesn't matter. Something still feels wonky. Some days it's vertigo. Some days I have brain fog. Some days like my joints aren't feeling the best. So there is this whole physical piece and mental piece also going on. And also in starting something new, it's scary. And I think that we live in an environment where everything's overnight, everything's fast, everything is supposed to be quick and easy and on demand. Our life's work, our legacy work, whether it's working for someone else or working for ourselves, if you desire it deeply enough, stick with it. It could take you 4 months. It could take you 4 years. It could take you the rest of your lifetime. If you love it and it's worth it, you're going to fight through whatever physical stuff you wake up with that day or not sleeping through the night again, because that is happening for so many of us. But hold on to that dream and just know that if you love it enough with persistence and enough love towards this goal that you have, it's going to happen. But we're not going to sit here and say that it's just all unicorns and rainbows as we're doing this. I'm sure, Barbara, you'd agree.
I agree 100%. You're absolutely right. I want to say I was very similar to you in my years of growing up, that while I was enjoying all the things, I wanted to win this award, get this amount of money. It was always about the things. And it's interesting. I never was really into taking care of my body, honestly. And I played sports, volleyball. But I never really took it seriously until my 40s. Once I started hitting 40 and then started gaining the weight and then just letting things happen, it's all about work, 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 work. It wasn't until, frankly, a couple of years ago when my mother had her stroke and we had to sell our childhood home at 50 years that I started paying more attention to my body and figuring out that work will drive me into the grave if I am not careful. And I think a lot of times we high achievers, we just want to keep going. And I was always envious of my friends who are high achievers and in the gym. And now I'm that person. But I think the one thing that we forget to do is it gets hard, gets tough, all the things that Julie said. It's just we need to take a step back and slow our roll and just enjoy, because I wrote this book down that you talked about. I can't wait to read it, The Top Regrets.
Yeah.
I look at life differently since my mother, and she's still with us, but she's living a different life now. I don't want to be 88 and need the help that she needs. I know she didn't want that as an alpha female. So I think as owners, as career women, just as women over 50 or whatever age, take a step back and listen to your body. When people would say that to me, you two, I would think that was too woo. I would think that was too woo to say to me, because I'm not all about the universe and all the things. And so now I'm thinking, wait, that's not woo. That's literally saying, listen to your body, listen to that ache, and listen, I'm on HRT too, and my butt will never go off of it.
Seriously.
So, and I've lost almost 60 pounds on GLP-1. And it's like, I just want us to start to listen to the cracks, listen to the things, and remind yourself to take care of you as well.
Yeah.
I don't even have kids, and it was not oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think as we get older, those signals, those symptoms, they just get louder and louder and louder and louder. And if we don't pay attention and show some care and some nurturing, then we're just going to break. And it hurts.
I'm just like you, Barbara. I mean, especially the first 4 or 5 years of growing my business, I always joke, my ambition and my mind was in the driver's seat and my body was in the back seat. I'm like, we'll take care of you later. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. And I can remember I was hosting a retreat and I was traveling for that. And then I had to come back and then I was going to a speaking engagement. This was 5 years now. And I came back exhausted, run down, so tired. And just like you, Barbara, I was like, nope, enough. If the mission is important to you, you have to help the vessel because we won't be able to do the mission, right? Back in 2021 is when I started to actually take care of myself again and lost weight and got healthy and all the things, because the mission can't succeed without the body. And so the body is now in the front seat with me, I have to say, which is very nice. But you have to pay attention. It's so important now more than ever.
It's so easy not to if you just are just used to going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do have to admit, I have to write it in my calendar though. I have to put in literally color or do a puzzle or do something crafty because I was that crafty kid, but I left all that behind and I understand that it's really great if you could bring those things back that you loved as a kid. But I have to write it in my calendar because I will keep going on the weekends after brunch with my girlfriends.
Yes, of course,
If I
right?
didn't have too many mimosas.
The pull is strong. Julie, one thing that I have heard you say that really caught me, you talk about niche drama, like coaches. You're told when you start a coaching career, oh, what's your niche? You have to choose your niche, choose your niche. And so there's this like niche drama. Same for consultants, right? It's not just coaches. Julie has this approach, or she talks about focus on what your convictions are. What do you believe? And start talking about your convictions. And then your niche grows up around you. Your community grows up around you. And Barbara, it feels like you certainly did that, right? Around aging,
Yes, I did.
ageism,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So what is a newer conviction that each of you have, one that is emerging or has emerged recently?
I can share because it's just been actually so recent that it literally gives me like chills throughout my whole body. I think we're really all very well aware that there's a lot going on, that we are moving into a whole new time, a new era, if you will. And I really believe that it is the female voice that has the power to guide us, shift us into this new world we're going into. And we have not had a voice for thousands of years, if we're being honest. And so my conviction right now so deeply is yes, 50 not finished. And yes, helping people with how they're here to potentially make money and enjoy what they do and legacy work. But actually, I think that the world needs these voices now more than ever. It's kind of why I'm so hot on helping women with their voice on Substack. So I'm not super woo. It sounds like I might be more woo than Barbara, but I believe in the collective energy. I really do.
Believe that.
I believe that women over 50, and I mean, we have women in our community that are in their 70s and 80s, and these are the people. These are the people that are going to literally shift the collective frequency if they can find the confidence and the courage to speak their voices and what they're here to say. And everyone has their own convictions of what they're here to stand for. And if each person impacted 1,000 people, like how much could this world change if everyone, it's not, you don't have to change the whole world, but if even 1,000 people were impacted by what you had to say and enough women did that, you're talking generational shifts in the world. And maybe that's Pollyanna, but I really believe it. And when I hear these women and what they're here to represent and what they're here to say, and this is all over the whole world, that is my conviction. I just feel so strongly that it's my mission to help their voices be heard. And the biggest way is actually have to help them get out of their own way because they're afraid of what people are going to think about them in saying what they're here to say. That's one of my strongest convictions right now.
Yeah, I have being afraid of what people are going to think about what I have to say. I have a sticky on my monitor that I read every day, and it says, someone out there needs to hear what I have to say.
Oof, I love that.
Right? It's not everybody, just someone, one person. If I can help one person,
that's all it
right?
takes. It's one person. And for me, my conviction is that age is an asset and not a disadvantage. Number one, because the way that we are being seen in the world still, and the fact that this is the one bias that is still acceptable on stages, in comedy, out of our own mouths, it is holding so many humans back. And the fact that 1 in 3 people today in America are over 50, and that by 2030, 3 out of 5 will be over 65. And you don't want to hire us. You don't want to listen to us. You don't want to pay us. You don't want to, whatever, you just add on to that. My conviction is to be on as many stages globally as I can and in front of as many women as I can to talk about the advantages that we bring to our careers, to our businesses, inside of corporations, wherever I can, to media, wherever I can amplify the voice of women, which ultimately means I'm amplifying the voice of people over this age. But wherever I can go, my conviction is in age and changing the way that we are seen today.
Mm-hmm. Age is an asset. Yes. And
Age is an asset and it's a privilege.
yeah,
By the way, we have to remember that age is a
yeah.
privilege
Every day.
because we all, the three of us and anybody who's listening or watching, what a blessing it is that they were able to open their eyes today. The fact that they were able to open their eyes means that they're aging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a
I mean,
blessing.
it's
It's
a
a blessing.
privilege. It's a
And I'm
privilege.
sure, Barbara, you'd agree. I mean, this whole obsession with youth is a recent phenomenon in the course of human history. I mean, the elders and the wise women, us with our silver hair, were the
Hello.
ones that were gone to for wisdom. You
Yeah.
know, and it's time to bring this back. And I'm with you. So I love your
Yeah.
conviction. I'm with you on it 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. And hearing you both talk about this, what it boils down to for me, this show is called Life from Within. I believe that our inner attitudes and beliefs and values create our experience in the world to some degree. Sometimes it's outward in, but I think in order for someone to value me, I have to value me. So you're both talking about we have to first value our experience, value our wisdom. And when we value it, it gives others permission and it creates the unlock for those outside of us to value that. And actually, Julie, one of the things that strikes me about what you're teaching is really there is no one size that fits all. And it's about understanding yourself well enough and understanding your own unique design and how you want to apply that in the world. So when we combine these two things, owning our value internally and also owning our unique design, it feels like the possibilities are endless for us.
They are endless. And listen, this is what I mean by new era. We were all raised to conform, whether it was our family wanting us to conform or just the way in which school systems and corporations. And I mean, don't stand out. Don't be too much. It's everywhere. There's some major shifts that need to change. But yeah, the possibilities are endless when we actually embrace that we're actually meant to do it fairly uniquely. And that's a good thing. And we need that. We need more of that. But there's that fear. And I mean, fear is the number one thing, right? That is holding people back. But see, they know though. So it's kind of like Barbara was talking about, like, coloring and remembering things when we were little. Our souls always know. We know what we are inherently capable of and what we are inherently gifted with, but we push it down because we have that fear. And that's the biggest thing. It's that fear that's holding us back from stepping out and being too much. Let's go be too much. Let's all be too much together.
Listen, as somebody who's always been told she's a lot, who stands at 5'11" and wears 5-inch heels and has a
Let's
very
go.
loud voice. Yes. And got zeros in talking all through elementary school. Yeah, I pretty much understand that.
Straight A's, accepting conduct. Yep, me too.
You both are beautiful and vibrant, and you're bringing so much to the world. What final words feel burning to come out of your mouth?
I'm just going to say it's time. Whoever's listening, you know that nudge you have in you, you know. And that book that I mentioned, Bronnie Ware, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, what Barbara just said about when we get to open our eyes every morning, it's a gift. And my uncle would always say this, life's not a dress rehearsal. We are in a live performance. And we are going into that final act in a lot of ways, right? A second, you can say second act, third act. I mean, there's lots, people have lots of different ways they talk about it.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, I probably have this many decades at most left. I want to do the best I can with those decades that I have. And I just would say to anyone listening, stop waiting and start small, but start taking some action towards what you know you've always wanted to do, because we just don't know how much time, and it is time. That's what I want people to know. It's time.
Right. She said it all. I mean, yes, just like the Nike swoosh, just do it. Let me just keep it simple. Just do it. I think what happens too is we have so many people in our ear that will stop you from pushing play on the thing that you want to do. It's what you want to do, but you're letting other people tell you you can't or you shouldn't or why would you? Don't listen to them. We are adults. Do what you want to do. And we will sit back. And as Oprah said, we will sit back. You can, and we will watch you get it done. Do it.
Barbara,
Yeah.
where can people find you?
They can find me at barbarabrooks.com and of course on LinkedIn because you heard me speak about it. But I also on LinkedIn, I do have and Substack, I have the Prime Example, which is a newsletter that I do, a bi-monthly newsletter that I do that talks about us being the prime example and experiences and things. And then of course, secondactwomen.com.
Okay. We'll
Yes.
add that to the show notes.
I'm everywhere.
You're
I'm
everywhere, girl.
That,
At
you know,
Barbara Brooks.
I got it. Yes, YouTube, all the places.
Yes. Julie, where can people find you?
Same thing as she's at Barbara Brooks everywhere. I'm at Julie Ciardi everywhere. Luckily, like no one seems to have that name, so we're good. But honestly, you come to my website, julieciardi.com, or definitely Substack. We bestseller. We are doing just some amazing things over there. I offer a lot of free resources over there to help people be able to grow their Substack. And of course, the book 50 Not Finished, which is out. It's on Amazon. We are relaunching it though in September because there was some new content I really wanted to bring into the book. So we're doing a whole big relaunch in September. Those are all the places you can find me and connect. And I would love, share this episode if it really resonated with you guys, and let Barbara and I know anything that maybe resonated with you, because I love when these are conversations and not just us speaking out there. So let us know what resonated. That would mean a lot to us.
Agreed.
It sure would. Thank you both. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone who could benefit from it. I'd love to hear from you. I would love it if you would rate the show, of course. 5 stars. What would make a real difference, though, is if you leave a review sharing what you like about the show and what you want to see in future episodes. I do want to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. Your time is precious, and I feel a lot of gratitude that you're choosing to share some of it with me. Catch you next time on Life from Within.